Welcome back, everyone, to Books and Bytes. This time we're going to be doing a deep dive into The Courage to be Disliked. It's by Ichiro Kishimi and Fumitake Koga. Have you heard of this one?
Yeah, I've read it. It's a really fascinating book. It's written as a dialogue between like a young man and a philosopher.
Oh, interesting. So not your typical, self-help book format, huh?
Right. Exactly. And they really dig deep into this thing called Adlerian psychology.
Okay, Adlerian psychology. Now, I got to admit, that's not one I'm super familiar with.
Yeah, it's different from, say, Freudian psychology that we might be a little more used to.
Okay, so how is it different?
Well, it's kind of radical, actually. It basically says that the past doesn't dictate our present. Like, trauma doesn't exist.
Wait, hold on. Trauma doesn't exist. That sounds a little extreme, doesn't it?
Yeah, on the surface it does, right? But what they're really getting at is that we have a choice in how we interpret and react to things that have happened to us.
Okay, so it's not about, denying that painful things happen, but more about how we choose to carry them with us.
Exactly. It's super empowering, actually. It puts us in the driver's seat. We can choose how our past shapes us.
So we're not just, victims of our
Yes,
circumstances.
not at all. And this kind of ties into another big idea in the book, the separation of tasks.
Separation of tasks. Okay, what's that all about?
Well, it means we can only control our own actions and feelings, not other people's, right?
Right, that makes sense.
So, trying to control others just leads to frustration.
Oh, I see this all the time. Think of that friend who's always looking for validation on social media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A perfect example. Their task is to build their self-worth, but they're trying to make it your task to constantly give them approval.
Ugh, yeah. They're basically outsourcing their self-esteem, huh?
Right. And Adler would say, hey, focus on your own tasks, your own growth, your own happiness. It's about taking ownership.
Setting healthy boundaries, too.
Absolutely.
Something else that I think a lot of us struggle with is, feeling inferior, not being good enough.
Oh, for sure. Adler actually believed that some degree of inferiority is normal.
Really?
Yeah, it's what pushes us to learn and grow. It's when it turns into an inferiority complex that it becomes a problem.
So it's one thing to think, oh, I need to study harder, but it's a whole other thing to think, I'm just not smart enough, period.
Exactly. One is empowering, the other is just self-sabotage.
Right, right.
The book actually uses the example of a student failing an exam. Someone with a healthy sense of inferiority, they see it as a chance to learn. Someone with an inferiority complex, they just see it as proof that they're not good enough.
Oof, yeah. That's a really good example. I can definitely see how that would play out in real life. It seems like one of the big things in this book is the idea that we need to stop looking for validation from other people and find happiness from within.
Right.
Which is, easier said than done, right?
Right.
Especially nowadays with social media and everyone's, obsessed with likes and followers and stuff.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's definitely a challenge in today's world. But that's exactly what the book is saying, that, chasing external validation, it just sets us up for disappointment.
Yeah, because then you're giving all your power away to other people, right? Your self-worth depends on what they think.
Exactly. You become dependent on other people's opinions to feel good about yourself.
So how do we break free from that cycle?
Well, the book talks about this idea that Adler calls community feeling.
Community feeling, okay.
Yeah, so it's a sense of being connected to something bigger than yourself, and finding purpose in contributing to something greater.
So it's not just about focusing on ourselves, but also how we can make a positive impact.
Exactly. It's kind of shifting the focus from what's in it for me to how can I contribute.
I like that.
So, that could be anything from volunteering to supporting a cause you care about, or even just being a good friend or a good listener.
Yeah, that's a good point. Another thing the book talks about is living in the present moment. And I'll be honest, I struggle with that sometimes. Dwelling on the past or worrying about the future.
Oh yeah. No, I think we all do, right? It's a pretty common struggle.
So, how do we cultivate that present moment awareness? Doesn't the book talk about mindfulness or something?
Yeah, mindfulness is a big part of it. Meditation can be really helpful.
Yeah.
Just, training your mind to become more aware of your thoughts and feelings,
right,
without judging them. So when you notice your mind, wandering off to the past or to the future, you just gently bring it back to the present moment.
And it sounds like that takes like practice and discipline, huh?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
But, the benefits of being more present, they're totally worth it. It's really amazing.
It makes me think about the title of the book, The Courage to be Disliked. Because it does take courage to like let go of that need for approval and just live authentically.
Oh, absolutely. The book is really saying that true freedom comes from being true to yourself, even if it means, not everyone's going to like it. It's about living in line with your values and going after what really matters to you, regardless of what other people think.
Having the courage to define your own success, your own happiness. I mean, it's a powerful message.
Yeah.
But it's definitely not like the easy path, right?
No, it's not a quick fix, that's for sure. It's a journey. It's about, self-discovery and growth. And Adlerian psychology, it kind of gives you a roadmap, but ultimately it's up to you to take the steps, to do the work.
I think one of the biggest takeaways for me from all of this is that we actually have a lot more control over our happiness than we often realize.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Happiness isn't something that just like happens to you. It's something you create.
Through our choices and our actions.
Exactly. Through your thoughts, your actions, your choices.
Yeah.
And the courage to be disliked, it really challenges us to take responsibility for our own well-being, to create a life that's meaningful, that's fulfilling.
This has been like, wow, a lot to think about.
Yeah.
I mean, the courage to be disliked, it really gives you a whole new way of looking at happiness and freedom and what it means to live a good life,
It really does. It challenges a lot of our assumptions and those societal norms that we just kind of, accept without thinking about it. It reminds us that we really do have the power to choose our own path, to choose our own happiness.
Even if it's not easy.
Exactly. And I think, for our listeners, this book poses a really interesting question.
Yeah, what's that?
It asks, if you truly believed you didn't need anyone's approval, what would you do differently?
Ooh, that's a good one. It makes you like really look at why you do the things you do, huh?
Yeah, it's about getting honest with yourself, about what you might be holding back from, because you're afraid of what other people will think.
Or afraid of being judged.
Exactly.
Wow, the courage to be disliked. This is a book that I think is going to stick with me for a while.
Me too. It really makes you think.
And hopefully it'll make our listeners think too.
Yeah, and hopefully it'll inspire some people to create a life that really feels meaningful to them.
A life that's true to themselves.
Yes, exactly.
But if you're looking for a book that's going to challenge you and make you think and maybe even change your life a little bit, I highly recommend checking this one out.
I second that.
Get your copy from the link in the description and subscribe to Books and Bytes for more insightful summaries.